Now in our late news, Missouri mourns the loss of 2 law officers killed by gunfire. Plus, we take a closer look at the suspected shooter's history of crime, and the Aurora Police Department looks to provide assistance for families with autism.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Law enforcement and lawmakers across Missouri shared their grief following the shooting deaths of 2 Christian County deputies. 2 other law officers are injured. The suspect was killed in a shootout. This is KOAM News. I'm Dow Quick. The shootings of the officers occurred in 2 locations and hours apart in southwest Missouri. The first shooting occurred around 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon in Christian County, Missouri. Authorities say Richard Dean Byrd shot and killed Deputy Gabrielle Ramirez in a traffic stop near Highway 160. Investigators say Byrd later fled into the woods armed with a rifle. Authorities say officers involved in an hours-long manhunt came under fire around 11:30 last night. That's when Christian County Deputy Michael Hislop and the suspect were killed. 2 other officers were injured and are expected to survive.
The suspect, once deputies were close to him, immediately opened fire on the deputies, and 3 deputies were shot during that time. We have 1 deputy from Christian County that is deceased from this incident here. 1 other Christian County deputy that's shot with non-life-threatening injuries. And we have a Webster County deputy that's also shot with non-life-threatening injuries, from what we are told. The suspect continued to fire rounds at officers and deputies. The law enforcement officers on scene returned fire, and the suspect is deceased.
Deputy Gabriel Ramirez had served in the U.S. Army for 8 years and joined the Christian County Sheriff's Department less than a year ago. He was 30 years old. 40-year-old Deputy Michael Hislop had served in the Sheriff's Department since 2019. Sheriff Brad Cole says their courage, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to Christian County will never be forgotten. Court documents on Richard Dean Byrd's criminal history date from as recently as a week ago. On February 15th, a 400-pound antique safe was reported missing. It was taken from the home of the victim's deceased parents, one a World War II veteran. During a search warrant the next day, Stone County deputies found coins and military memorabilia where Richard Byrd lived. The deceased parents' names were on items, including inside a wood-burning stove where deputies found burned documents. In court documents, Byrd has also been described as a danger to the public. In an eerily similar case from September of 2014, Byrd shot at a Johnson County, Kansas law enforcement officer who was investigating a construction site theft. Byrd fired multiple shots from a rifle. That deputy was not hit. Byrd was convicted in 2016 and sentenced to 99 months. The Kansas Department of Corrections lists his discharge date as April of 2023. Let's check in with meteorologist Austin Stantz now for a first look at the weather.
Yeah, thanks, Al. We're going to see a mild evening even headed into these overnight hours. Temperatures going to be hanging around those low 30s tonight. Just a few scattered clouds, especially if you are north of I-44 this evening. But as I mentioned, a very comfortable evening tonight. Those winds are calming down as we head into these overnight hours. You'll notice that we start to see our winds shift out of the northeast here as we head into our Wednesday. We're actually going to see a front pass Wednesday night. That'll keep our winds out of the north, and you might think, well, hey, that's going to keep our temperatures a bit cooler. Well, it's actually the contrary there. We're going to be starting out pretty mild, 43 degrees to start your morning, and we've probably been rolling with the hot coffee lately because of how cold it's been. So maybe I opt for an iced coffee since we're above freezing. But we're departing from normal. Once again, we'll be above average. We do go down, but don't worry, temperatures are right back up. We're going to break everything down in my full forecast coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon. Teens are 3 times more likely than others to be involved in a fatal crash. The encouraging news for parents is there is a way to reduce that number by 20 to 40%. The Joplin Health Department is offering a free program titled First Impact, designed to introduce parents and their teens to the risks new drivers face. program will also provide tools for parents to monitor, coach, and support their teen driver. While the program is free, registration is required. For interested parents or teens, we have more information, including a link to register on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. The Aurora, Missouri Police Department will soon be distributing stickers for families of people with autism to display at their home. KOAM's Kenny Foreman tells us why the department believes something as simple as this can make a huge difference.
As someone who is committed to protecting his community, Chief West Coatney's inspiration for the sticker idea was driven by his frustration with tragic events involving first responders and people with autism.
The autistic person doesn't always understand the situation that they're in, and it's turned into tragedy, whether somebody got hurt or even killed on a few occasions. And so I'm a policeman. I've been a policeman for a long time, and I always want to give us the highest chance of success that I possibly can.
By helping them identify situations before they walk into them, the hope is that the officers can then come up with more effective solutions on how to respond.
Allows us to maybe handle the situation or approach the situation a little bit differently with some different techniques that my guys have learned through the crisis intervention training that they've had. But if we know ahead of time that we may be encountering an autistic person, that gets us on the right track for better and more effective communication to keep everybody safe.
By putting families more at ease, the community hopes this can increase familiarity and strengthen the overall relationship between responders and people with autism.
They're trying to work with their kids, they're trying to work with maybe their parents in a nursing home, or an older brother or sister that may be out and about and has an interaction with an officer that isn't able to respond maybe as socially appropriate as we think they should.
It's a gesture that goes a long way for Charlotte Brown, a mother of a 9-year-old son with autism. She's urging other families to follow suit.
Every person that has an autistic child should have a sticker on their front door, on their vehicle, just notifying that, like, even in a car accident, I had one on my vehicle. It would notify the first responders that he may not respond.
In Aurora, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
Chief Coatney says he's ordered 100 stickers he plans to distribute when they arrive in the coming weeks. Coming up, the president speaks to a nation.
President Trump takes a victory lap touting his policies during his address to the nation. I'm Erica Brown with more on the president's State of the Union address and reaction from Democrats.
Plus, a piece of American history is on hand during tonight's State of the Union address to help mark the country's 250th anniversary. Wasn't the gavel the Speaker of the House uses to call the joint session of Congress to order tonight, but a marble piece of U.S. history that was front and center for the President's State of the Union address. The gavel that President George Washington commissioned to lay the cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol in 1793 was on the dais next to the Speaker of the House throughout the President's speech. The House Speaker's office and the U.S. Capitol Historical Society coordinated with the Freemason Lodge, which owns the gavel, to display it at the State of the Union.
It's an absolute honor for us to be able to offer this piece of national history at such a historic event, the State of the Union, during the country's 250th anniversary. As Freemasons, we particularly reflect on the fact that this is an inflection point, not just in American, but in world history.
This was the first time that Washington's gavel has been in the chamber for that constitutionally mandated address. The President spoke for an hour and 44 minutes in tonight's State of the Union. As Erica Brown reports, much of the speech focused on the economy in his first year back in office and laid out the Republican agenda heading into the midterm elections.
Speaker, the President of the United States.
President Trump arrived in the House chamber of the Capitol to largely thunderous applause, and he highlighted the country's 250th birthday, defended his record, and laid out his agenda with a focus on the economy.
Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. The price of eggs is down 60%. The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot.
But while the president touts his economic policies, a new CBS News poll shows 61% of those surveyed disapprove of his handling of the economy, and only 37% say the economy is in good condition. The president also discussed his nationwide crackdown on crime, pointing to a significant decline in murder rates.
This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years.
And on his policy abroad, the president issued a stern warning to Iran as he weighs potential military action over its nuclear program.
One thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Dozens of Democratic lawmakers boycotted the president's address, with some holding a counter-program on the National Mall. Among President Trump's guests was Erica Kirk, the widow of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, and members of the U.S. men's hockey team who won the gold medal during the Winter Olympic Games. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger gave tonight's Democratic response. In her remarks, the governor said the president is not focused on issues that matter to Americans, like lowering the cost of housing, child care, and health care, and making our communities safer. She called Trump's tariff policies reckless, saying they've cost the average American family $1,700. Spanberger said the president is ceding economic and technological advantages to our nation's adversaries and is contributing to chaos at home and abroad. Members of the Democratic Women's Caucus held a news conference today in Washington with survivors of Jeffrey Epstein to demand the release of all files connected to that convicted sex offender. Lawmakers stood beside women and their families to call on the Trump administration to release Epstein case files with unredacted information on his associates. Amanda Roberts spoke about her sister-in-law, Virginia Giuffre, who accused Epstein of sex trafficking her when she was 17. She died by suicide last year. Several House Democrats invited Epstein survivors to be their guests at tonight's State of the Union address. A little bit later, the undefeated Gorillas take on Newman. Ben's going to have details from the Diamond coming up later in sports.
And as mild temperatures continue into this evening, there are some forecast changes ahead. I'll have the details coming up.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Well, temperatures are fairly mild for this evening. There are some forecast changes ahead. The good news is the warmest of the air is going to hang around with us even as we head into the later part of the week. But looking at right now, a few clouds still off to our north, maybe a few mid-level clouds that are just fairly transparent tonight. You might actually get a look at the moon tonight. It could be a good night for that, especially with these temperatures still in the low 40s. So if you can catch a glimpse of that before you head to bed tonight. Expecting temperatures overnight 43 degrees. It's mostly cloudy at times, but clouds are going to be decreasing as we head into the overnight. Winds are also going to be easing up out there, so that's some really good news for us. Heading into tomorrow morning, going to run into probably mostly cloudy skies as you head out tomorrow morning, but then as we head into the afternoon, becoming partly cloudy there. 66 degrees by 2 o'clock. Told you that warm air is hanging around for us even as we head into our Wednesday. So the middle part of the week, looking great so far. 64 degrees here in Joplin by 4 o'clock. And then we're starting to head down in temperature just a bit as we head into this 10 o'clock hour here Wednesday. Notice some rainfall off to our north. As we go into the evening hours, especially because we have some sunshine out there in the afternoon hours, could give us just enough convection to see one of these showers become an isolated thunderstorm, especially in our far northeastern counties here. Now again, most of that rain going to be staying off to the north there, but a few of these showers, as you see some widespread cloud cover there, can't rule out a few scattered showers, but everyone would be looking maybe 1/100th of an inch to maybe a few hundredths of an inch, so not much rainfall there, but any rainfall is welcome with the current drought that we're in right now. Take notice though, here we are Thursday, 2:30 in the morning, a few showers rolling through, but mild temperatures overnight. Clouds begin to clear, so this is our front as we head into Thursday. Thursday's looking pretty good as well, pretty sunny out there. The good news is the winds are staying calm for us, so nothing like we saw today heading into our Wednesday. All day tomorrow, we can expect winds around 5-10 miles per hour, a gust near maybe 15-20 at most. for tomorrow. So it's going to be a relatively calm day for us. But then as we head into Wednesday evening, even as our front slides through and changes our wind direction out of the north, still not seeing gusty winds there. And we're going to see above average temperatures over the next 6 to 10 days. So this front that moves through has little effect on our temperatures, as temperatures are expected to remain above average for the next 6 to 10 days. But so is our precipitation, especially during the time frame of March 2nd through March 6th. That's the area that we're watching there. And the good news is this is the first time the Climate Prediction Center has put us in an above average precipitation outlook in months. So we could really use that rainfall. The rainfall that we're tracking, well, just a short wave tries to move through as we head into our Thursday. Then things are going to stay fairly warm for us as we enter in another ridge for a few days. But then showers begin moving in as we head into the later part of the weekend. But before that, 71 on Friday, 75 on Saturday. Here comes that rainfall moving in, 61 on Sunday. And then we're going to see some of those showers hanging around through the part of next week, and then maybe a few stronger thunderstorms late next week that we're keeping our eye on.
It looks like at least part of the weekend could be great to get outside. Maybe
Absolutely.
Thanks. Still ahead, a pair of Carthage teammates signed to compete at the next level. And Pitt State baseball looks to keep its undefeated season alive. Ben McLeish has those stories and more for us up next in sports.
In Carthage, a pair of cross-country runners signed to advance their athletic careers to the collegiate level. Teammates Devin Smith and Javen Bird are staying together for the next stage of their careers. Today, they signed their national letter of intent to join the Crowder College cross-country team.
He's been a teammate since my freshman year, and me and him have just built this long-term connection, and it's so awesome to go with someone I know, and it makes it less nerve-wracking.
It makes me feel more comfortable about it, definitely safer, and it makes me feel more confident that we're going to face it together.
On the diamond, Gorillas baseball looks to stay undefeated on the season after a 13-0 start. BSU battling Newman at home. First inning, runner aboard for the Jets. Ground ball to the right side for Landon Midget, who steps on the bag at first and fires to second for the inning-ending double play. Moving to the home half of the frame, runner on second for the Gorillas. Jaden McNeely gets aggressive and takes off on this ground ball, forcing an errant throw, scoring on the error 1-0 PSU. Next batter, Dagan Brewer hits a line drive to left, one-hopping the wall for an RBI ground rule double. Eric Bacon scores from second to extend the lead. Second inning, 2 on for the Gorillas. McNeely doing damage at the plate this time with a single to right. Andrew Branson scores from second as the Gorillas dominate the Jets 20-2, the final in 7 innings. Heading to the court, it's the final week of high school basketball regular season, and it's senior night in Girard with the Trojans taking on the Colgan Panthers. And it was all Girard to open this one. August Mooneyham splits the double team, fighting Carson Orand, who splashes the 3. But here comes Colgan, and the first half belonged to Bella Asiano. Off the give from Jacayla Davis, the junior drains this mid-range jumper. Panthers lead at half. Fourth quarter, Colgan leading. Davis drives and kicks to her twin sister Janessa, who fires from deep, nailing the 3 as the Panthers take down the Trojans 51-35, the final. The Girard boys squad eyeing a second straight win to cap off the regular season. And after the Trojans gained an early lead, Colgan's Jaden Brown went to work, hitting this 3 and scoring the Panthers' first 8 points. But the Trojans were sticking around, Adrian Newton going on the run in transition. This floater gets the friendly roll to drop for 2. Couple possessions later, Girard working the ball around, ending up in the hands of Jackson Smith. And his shot from downtown is nothing but net as the Trojans down the Panthers in a thriller 57-55. The Lady Purple Dragons take on the Beck County on senior night. Second quarter, Pittsburgh up big. Amory Baker working the defender in the paint, knocks down the fadeaway jumper to close the gap before halftime. But the Purple Dragons would continue to dominate in the third. Mackenzie English receives the pass, gets it to Odessa Reed on the bounce. Reed does the rest to extend the Pittsburgh lead. Now Sophia Heitrich has got it at the top of the key. She lobs it to English, lays it in for two as the Purple Dragons cruise to the 57-38 win over the Grizzlies. Well, that's it for sports. We're back with more after the break.
Carthage High School's agriculture program transforms students' futures. The Carthage FFA started in 1940 and now serves 250 to 300 students each year. With its mission expanding beyond traditional farming and hands-on learning, it trains students and prepares them for more than 300 different career paths in agriculture and technology. It's nice for them to be able to get out and do that and what's going to be their expanding farm there at Carthage. And we have some nice days to get outside in our near future.
We sure do. Yeah, we're going to stay above average for the next several days. Now, our average right around 54 degrees. So where does that put us? Well, 68. Take a look at that. That's well above average. Even on Thursday with the cool down on the way. Plenty of sunshine to be found there as well. And then we're breaking into the 70s Friday and Saturday. And finally, I guess my rain dance worked because some rain is on the way on Sunday. Got to keep an eye on those storms late next week. Some of those could be on the stronger side, so we'll be watching those closely.
I've never actually seen your rain dance. Yeah, I might put you on the spot one of these days and make you perform it live on air.
I'll have to bring my stick and, we'll have to do the whole spiel.
Okay, we'll see. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for staying up late with us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m., and let's make it a great tomorrow.